Destination D23 just occurred the second weekend of September 2023. Destination D23 is an event held every other year at Walt Disney World. It's billed as the biggest event of the year for Disney's official fan club. We got some announcements pertaining to the Disney parks that I think are of interest to this community, so we will discuss those key takeaways as well as my reaction and opinions. If you're new around here, hey, I'm Jacqueline and welcome to the Pixie Dust PhD YouTube channel. I would super appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. You can then ring the bell icon to receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. I post a lot of informational content focused on the Disney parks, so it may be of interest to you. And thanks to everyone who has liked the video, commented down below, and shared with friends. Before we get into theme parks, there was some brief Disney Cruise Line news. Prior to Destination D23, we did get a sneak peek at the Disney Treasure. The company released an official video going over a bunch of fun details. I will leave a link to that in the description below. At Destination D23, they did highlight the new island destination of Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. And we learned the name of the 7th Disney Cruise Line ship will be the Disney Adventure. Moving on to parks news, a couple of items pertain to multiple theme parks. First, Asha, who's from the upcoming Disney movie Wish, is going to be doing meet and greets. At Disney World, this will be at Epcot, and she'll also be meeting and greeting at Disneyland and Disneyland Paris. Ahsoka is also being added to various iterations of Star Tours. Beginning next spring, you'll have the chance to see her in Star Wars at Hollywood Studios at Walt Disney World, in Disneyland Resort, and Disneyland Paris. Over at Disneyland Paris specifically, Destination D23 did show us a little sneak peek of their Frozen-themed land. We've known about this expansion to Walt Disney Studios Park for a while, but it's always nice to see the artwork. For more news that we kind of had seen before, they did briefly highlight Fantasy Springs at Tokyo Disney Sea. This is opening in 2024 and will have lands themed to Rapunzel, Peter Pan, and Frozen. Keeping with the Frozen theme, we did get a peek at the forthcoming Frozen land coming to Hong Kong. And in Shanghai, they highlighted the new Zootopia land. This reportedly will be a new attraction, have some special entertainment, and of course some Zootopia-fied food and beverages. Back stateside, the main Disneyland Resort announcement had to do with Avengers Campus. They showed us the world jumping vehicle that will be used in a DCA attraction. Presumably this is the e-ticket coming to Avengers Campus. Plot-wise, this vehicle will be key to taking our heroes through the multiverse. Now on to a slew of announcements pertaining to Walt Disney World. We'll start with the Magic Kingdom. Sometime in the future, we are getting a Pirates of the Caribbean themed lounge. It's not totally clear to me where this will be. It might be a retheme of Tortuga Tavern, which personally I would enjoy. It could possibly take over space from A Pirate's Adventure. It could also be an entirely new structure. The Barker Bird is coming, but other than that, we really have no details. For example, they're calling it a lounge, but is it going to have alcoholic beverages? Gaston's Tavern is called a tavern and certainly does not. If I'm being optimistic, I can definitely envision a situation where it is a proper lounge and you could get an alcoholic beverage, but you would have to maybe stay there. You couldn't take them and go because you are in the Magic Kingdom. But really, we're short on details here, so that's a complete guess, and we'll just have to wait and see. Next in Magic Kingdom, the Country Bear Jamboree is getting a refresh. Sometime in the future, the bears will sing various Disney songs in different styles of country music. Personally, I have no nostalgic ties to Country Bears, so I'm pretty meh about this. If the Country Bears had fully gone away and been replaced with something like a Tiana stage show, I probably would be more excited. But I know a lot of folks really love the Country Bears, so they're probably super happy to see them staying, even if it's a revamped, different show. If you watch a video of the current show, or even just browse through the lyrics, I think it's obvious that it needed an update. So for all you Country Bear Jamboree fans out there, I know this is probably disappointing, but I do think actually it's a win in your column that at least you're keeping the Country Bears. As was previously teased, Hatbox Ghost is coming to the Haunted Mansion in the Magic Kingdom. From Destination D23, we now know that this will be implemented starting in late November. And they did briefly touch on a big future expansion to Magic Kingdom back behind Big Thunder Mountain. But other than the fact that this expansion is coming, we really have no details. Moving over to Epcot, the previously promised Figment meet and greet is materializing. It's actually live in the parks already. This is the big walk-around version of Figment. It's not a cute little guy. Next, they told us that Test Track is being reimagined, and it's apparently going to take some inspiration from World of Motion. I don't dislike the current version of Test Track by any means, but I am excited to see it get revamped. I know there was a lot of internet chatter questioning why Test Track and why not focus on a ride that maybe needs a revamp a little more, like Mission Space. Personally, I think this is monetarily driven. Chevrolet was a named sponsor, so presumably they're providing a lot of money to help with this Test Track refresh. Chevrolet sponsoring just about any other ride in Epcot doesn't make nearly as much sense. Next, we finally learned about the new nighttime spectacular coming to Epcot. It's called Luminous: The Symphony of Us, and it is set to debut on December 5th, 2023. So not too much longer for Epcot forever. Then we have confirmation of the opening date for Journey of Water, inspired by Moana, that will be open to the public on October 16th of this year. Moana's meet and greet is also moving from the Animal Kingdom over to Epcot. She will have her own dedicated space, but it is unclear if that will have a lightning lane, if it will be continuous meet and greets, or if it will just be 20 to 30 minute sets like a lot of the other princesses in Epcot do. And World Celebration is set to be done and open in December 2023. To be honest, I'm not totally sure what this means. I'm fairly certain World Celebration already encompasses things like Club Cool and Connections Cafe and Erie. We are supposed to get a statue of Walt as well as Dreamers Point, a new lookout point. If you know exactly what it means that World Celebration will be open, please do leave a comment down below to educate me. But all in all, if this means more construction walls are coming down in Epcot, I am stoked. And finally for Epcot, Soarin' Over California is coming for a limited time beginning on September 22nd. This will replace the current Soarin' Over the World for whatever a limited time means. My personal speculation is the Soarin' Over California version will probably run through the holiday season, but only time will tell. On to the next theme park, let's discuss Animal Kingdom. A Zootopia show is being created for the Tree of Life Theater. Personally, I am assuming this means a Zootopia show is coming to replace the Bugs Life show that is inside the Tree of Life. I saw some internet chatter that it could end up just being a show on the Tree of Life, like projected onto the tree, but because they specified the theater in the Disney Parks blog, I do think it's an actual theater show. I'm pretty happy about this, honestly. It's tough to be a bug is cute, but it certainly does not draw in the crowds like it once did. Anything that's going to make good use of that theater space and suck in a lot of crowds, I think is an upgrade. And I'm especially happy that if they're doing a theater show for Zootopia, it probably means that the previously teased Zootopia Land in Animal Kingdom might be scrapped. The sneak peeks we've gotten of the Zootopia Land in Shanghai look really impressive, but I personally don't want to see that in Animal Kingdom for thematic reasons. Additionally, the Zootopia attraction at Shanghai leans pretty heavily into you being a cop, which I don't think is great in the American context. The Zootopia show inside the Tree of Life seems like a nice compromise between what the Imagineers perhaps want to do and probably what some of the public is asking for. I'm guessing there's a demand if they want to do a Zootopia IP, but also maybe not making it so Zootopia forward in the Animal Kingdom. This is better than an entire big Zootopia cityscape, in my opinion. And I don't want to totally get in the weeds here, but for anyone wondering why I don't think Zootopia fits in the Animal Kingdom, even though it's an animals movie, the movie really is about human issues, they just happen to be animals. The central message of the movie certainly is not about conservation, and in my opinion, it doesn't even really highlight the wonders of animals and nature. Personally, I am on team Zootopia does not belong in Animal Kingdom really at all, but if we're gonna shove it in Animal Kingdom, this Tree of Life show makes me much happier than a potential Zootopia cityscape and ride where Dino Land is. With that being said, they did announce at Destination D23 that Dino Land USA will be rethemed into a Tropical Americas theme. This is said to focus on the north part of South America and up through Central America. Personally, I like Dino Land USA and I am sad to see it go. I also just think dinosaurs is a great theme. A lot of kids like dinosaurs, I would argue most kids like dinosaurs, and frankly a lot of adults like dinosaurs too. Dinosaurs are just cool. So I will be sad to see that theme go away. But if we do have to replace Dino Land USA, I'm glad it's shifting in this direction of Tropical Americas instead of what was previously teased as like a Moana/Zootopia land. There's a lot of exciting space to play around in when it comes to the theme of Tropical Americas for rides and attractions, but also a lot of really cool animals that they could bring into the park as well. During this announcement, they did also say that new experiences were being considered inspired by Encanto and Indiana Jones. Similar to Zootopia, I don't really see how Encanto fits in at the Animal Kingdom. Yes, Antonio's power has to do with animals, but again, it's not really about conservation and it's not really about the inherent beauty of nature. Encanto is super popular though, and I do like the movie. I would be pleased to see it in the parks. This would not be my favorite spot, but it's maybe not the worst. I'll definitely take the Casa from Encanto over a Zootopia cityscape in the Animal Kingdom. And we really didn't get any details here, but to me it seemed like whatever Encanto thing they were pitching would be a new build structure. There's a lot of land to work with in Dino Land USA, so I do think it's feasible for them to build out the Casa. Going through the various magical rooms honestly could be a really cool Omnimover attraction. Again, I don't really get it in Animal Kingdom, but it's fine. The Indiana Jones part I am more worried about. Again, we didn't get any details, so this is all speculation, but the most obvious logical jump is that they would retheme Dinosaur to Indiana Jones. First of all, I just like the dinosaur attraction, I think it's pretty enjoyable, and I personally enjoy Dinosaur more than I enjoy the Indiana Jones ride out in Disneyland Resort in California. I know that's an unpopular opinion though. But personally, I would just be really sad to see an original ride like Dinosaur be rethemed to be a clone of something we already have that's also pretty old. I'm not the biggest fan of cloned rides in general, but I am able to get more on board if we're talking cross-continent. For example, when they brought Remy's Ratatouille Adventure down to Epcot, maybe not my favorite, but it at least made sense in that a lot of people will be able to experience that may never go to France. The logistical ask for folks who go to Disney World to then go to Disneyland to experience the Indiana Jones ride isn't nearly as high, in my opinion, as asking those same folks to go all the way out to France or go to Tokyo or go to Shanghai, etc. I also understand the business perspective of cloned rides. Since you've already done it in one park, you should be able to build it faster, perhaps cheaper, and just generally know what to expect. From a profit standpoint, I get it. But I'm speaking today as a Disney Parks fan, so yeah, in general, I'm not the biggest fan of cloned rides, and I especially don't like it when it's the same stuff in Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort in California. Like, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is almost an exact clone, and I just find it boring. I am very concerned that Dinosaur is just going to get turned into Indiana Jones, essentially the same as out in Disneyland in California, and I will honestly be very sad about that. That being said, even if Dinosaur doesn't get turned into Indiana Jones, if they are going to retheme that whole Dinoland USA area into Tropical Americas, I don't really see a path forward where Dinosaur stays themed to dinosaurs. Hopefully whatever it ends up becoming I love just as much as I love Dinosaur, but yeah, I'm shedding a tear for that one. I also think it's worth noting my personal interpretation of this section was that the retheme of Dinoland into Tropical Americas sounds pretty guaranteed, but the pitch of Encanto and Indiana Jones sounded a little bit more blue sky to me. I'd love to hear what your interpretations were. Do you think Encanto and Indiana Jones are locked in? Despite me thinking these were both pitched as blue sky, Encanto does just make a lot of sense to me. I think the demand is really there, and they need to plop Encanto something in a park somewhere. There's the space in Animal Kingdom, so I think that just is what's going to happen. Indiana Jones, I'm less sold on. I don't think there's as big a fan demand for that, but I could be wrong. Also, if you were just going for like an adventurer theme in Tropical Americas, personally, I would like to see more Up incorporated. There's literally a line in the movie where little Ellie's talking about South America and she goes, "It's like America, but South." There already is some Up representation in that park anyway, so you could just shift it over to that land. Those were the biggest takeaways for the Disney parks in my opinion. There were some key things I think were left out. We didn't really hear anything about Spaceship Earth. A while ago, they had pitched that they would revamp Spaceship Earth. It seems like that is super on the back burner now, if it's gonna happen at all. We also didn't get any concrete details about this Magic Kingdom expansion beyond Big Thunder Mountain other than they're working on it. And once upon a time, they teased Cherry Tree Lane from Mary Poppins in Epcot, not a peep about that, so I think that is also very, very on the back burner, or perhaps even dead for now. What else were you hoping to hear about at Destination D23 that was completely ignored? I know one thing a lot of fans have been clamoring for is a nighttime parade at Magic Kingdom, not a peep on that. Overall, I think it's worth noting that I don't personally put too much stock into anything that gets announced at these type of events. Some of them are obviously further along, like Journey of Water will be opening very shortly, and I am excited about that. But anything that's still in the phase of being created has a lot of room to grow, change, or even be scrapped. But I am looking forward to Epcot being less of a construction zone, and while I will miss Dinoland USA, I think whatever they turn it into could be really exciting. I'd love to hear your thoughts and chat about this. Hit me up in the comments down below. And if I missed any big key takeaways that you latched onto, definitely let me know. I hope you found this wrap-up of Destination D23 helpful. May the rest of your day be magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.